Alright guys, so I wanted to take a quick video of my sawmill. I know in the last video that I took and posted, I had on a video of me using my wheel horse 314H tractor. I was pushing a log up to it, and I wanted to share a little bit about my Wood-Mizer LT15 start sawmill. I'm in my garage right now. It's kind of a mess. But I needed to do a little bit of a service on my sawmill. I noticed a few things loosening up just because of normal wear and tear. I've sawn about 1,000 board foot of lumber with it already, and I gotta admit, I'm loving it. First and foremost, one of the main reasons being this sticker right here, over here. Built in the USA. I gotta admit, every little piece on this thing has been awesome. I enjoy the fact that I can pull out a standard size wrench or an Allen wrench and be able to adjust anything on this mill. I have not met a metric item on here yet, probably on the motor, but we'll see. But since I have sawn about 1,000 board foot, I've gone through about 2 blades. When I called Wood-Mizer PA, they said that I should get about 500 board foot per blade. I'm getting about that. I'm on my 3rd blade now. I did clean off some logs and I did hit a little bit of dirt and stuff and the bark, and I tried to clean off as much as I could, but I am noticing some wear and tear now on the blades as I use them. Now, the other thing, so as you can see, it is a start model. I don't have power feed. I don't have the crank handle to feed either. I'm all push, and I will admit I enjoy the push. I know it's a little bit more work, but I'm not doing a ton of milling yet. I do enjoy it. So it's one of those things where I had some trees on my property. I'm like, I want to utilize these trees. So I actually bought the sawmill in part of doing that, but I also know that there's a lot of people that like to do woodworking, and I especially like to do woodworking, so I would love to build my own stuff with this sawmill. So from start to finish, I want to be able to cut a tree down or get a log from somewhere, mill it up. Future plans of building a solar kiln, and then be able to build a piece of furniture with in my workbench here. I'm doing some maybe hand-cut dovetails or doing something with a table for my wife. I have a few prospected ideas of what I might do, but this is the beginning of the little things I want to do. This is just a little bit of a taste of my woodworking side. I have another side I enjoy to do some other stuff, but this is one of my main goals. This is a budget mill for me. This is what fit in my budget. This is what I could afford. I did go with the trailer package, and I did go with the log loading deck, which is the ramps that come up on the sides. So I'll just flip these around. So the log loading deck works by putting ramps into these slots here. They slide in, they clip in. They're not made of junky steel. It's like 1/4 inch square tubing. And then even the bed rails on this thing, they are nice and thick. The only thing I notice on here is the powder coating on here. I understand that there is a bearing that is rolling across here. It is a lot of weight. I think the head weighs about 800 pounds, so it's not light. And in the future, maybe I'll upgrade this one and put the 19 horsepower on instead of the 14, and then this mill may stay at home. We'll see. But this one here, I will admit, I like the way that these are set up with the log clamps. I did a little bit of adjustment on this. So tonight, a few things I noticed when I was at a friend's house cutting up some logs of his. I was putting a log on, and I cut a square cant, what I thought was square, and I noticed every time I'd flip a log, it would be off just like 1/8 of an inch. Now, I know we're cutting some lumber out of this, and later on it's going to be fixed, but I'm a perfectionist at heart. So I was able to flip the log, and I noticed it twice, as I did it. Now, some logs, I do it and it was cutting fine. It could be a little bit of mistake on my part on the head of the mill. When we originally adjusted it, I used it for a little while, and then I noticed the head of the mill was slanted down, cutting too much off of, so on the push side of the mill, it's supposed to be, just say it's set at 14 3/4 as the instructions say. On this side of the mill, it should be 14 13/16. So you want to have an extra 1/16 of an inch on this side. And I was noticing that when I measured it, it was actually a 1/16 of an inch lower than 14 3/4. And I did notice it. I did correct that. I corrected that, and I noticed the first log that I cut, it was pretty much right dead on. I was measuring one side to the other. There was no difference whatsoever. Now, when you're cutting a log and you're cutting pieces out of it, when you're lowering the mill, it's not going to matter. It's going to lower it 1 inch or whatever. You're cutting 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 8/4, no matter what you're doing, it's going to cut that all the way down through. What I'm talking about is when you actually get a square cant and you're getting down to your last little bit, you're going to notice one side of your board is going to be an 1/8 inch thinner or thicker, and the other side of your board is going to be what you exactly thought it was. So I did notice that, but I understand when something is built, you got to use a little bit, and then you got to make the little bit of adjustments later. I'm glad that it's just a little bit of adjustments. I know I'm using the mill. I know I used it pretty hard, to be honest with you. I wanted to run it through. I haven't been real terrible on the motor. The motor is pretty much starts for me right away. Been running a non-ethanol gas in it, and I have been treating the fuel just a little bit just because I don't want anything to happen to the motor. Just a little bit of seafoam in there, just because I'd like it to keep it clean, make it working good. It is a Kohler 14 horse Command Pro. I will admit it motors through some stuff. I actually cut some ash boards, and I was pretty impressed. It did a good job. So let's just start here at the front of the mill. So this is the Go package. I was able to get, this is a 2-inch trailer hitch that fits into this here. And it does have lights. The lights work great. I did travel with it at night. A lot of people don't like to move their mills around just because of adjustment. I will say that even though it's kind of a thing, it actually rode really nice. There is leaf springs here in the back. Now I live in Pennsylvania, so you can only use this trailer, but there's no license plate on this trailer. So as long as it has working lights and everything at night, I guess I'm good to go. The only thing that I did not get with the mill was, if you notice here, I put on this is kind of a redneck fix, but this is a felt pad that I have soaked in the automatic transmission fluid for sliding. It didn't come in a box. I got the 2 metal pieces in the box that hold them on, but I was able to fix that by just getting some pieces, poking a hole through it, and it's wrapped around a couple times. But it is keeping my rail nice and clean, other than the spot where the paint is coming off. But I'll be honest with you, I don't mind that. It's wearing very evenly. I'm not seeing like any gouges or anything in it. It does get a little rough to roll, but that's because it's dirty. So if you don't keep it clean, it will do that. So like I said earlier, here is where I have my 4/4, 6/4, 5/4, 8/4 scale. I actually have it stuck there, and it stayed there the whole drive. It's just a big magnet, but that goes on the head of the mill. So your log stops, they're very easy to adjust. Put a board on here, adjust them. I adjusted mine tonight just because I noticed a little bit of this one right here was a little bit out of square, and this one here was a little too far over. So when I put a log on the other day, it hit on there, and I could see a little bit of a wave to the rear of the mill where I pushed to. So down here is the log loading operation. So I don't have the handle in here, but the log loading deck comes with this winch, and the deck would be over on the other side, and then you would be able to crank on this handle. And I will say it's fairly easy. You got to be careful. But one of the things I will say is I loaded a log by myself, and the one thing I wanted to be really careful of, I was loading about 1,000-pound log, and I got it up on the deck, and as I got it on the deck, it started to twist, and when it twisted, I just let go, just let it be. If it falls, it falls. So I just restarted again, and I figured out where I needed to get it to, and I was able to roll that log up and get it up on here as safely as possible. But it works great. It's nothing fast about it, but for me, it works pretty awesome. So this is pretty hefty steel setup. So you can see it's a pretty nice thick pin that holds it on there. This here actually sits against the mill here, and then you can see how nice and thick this plate is here, where it locks into place. And then I mean it's pretty much like a boat winch, but just a little bit heftier. I will say, I'll go back to the front of the mill here. On here it does say this, max loading of 4,200 pounds. To be honest with you, that is a heck of a lot of weight. I've had about 1,000-pound log on here, and the mill is going to move. When you put a big log on, it's going to flex a little bit, but like I said, it's built very nicely. Used, I'm pretty sure they're 1/2-inch bolts and 3/4-inch head bolts that are down through here. Like I said, everything's standard. Sorry about that light. Everything's standard. Everything's a standard size wrench and ratchet to put it together. I was very impressed. Wood-Mizer, kudos to you. I'm very happy that you guys use standard size on all of your stuff here. So I don't want to make this video too long, but I will say, I'll flip this. So a few things that I am, because I'm a perfectionist, when I set this mill up, so if you can see here, I have it literally on 14 3/4, okay, from the front. If I measure this, let's see if I can do this with one-handed. So to the bottom of the blade, it's 14 3/4. I have it bent a little bit there, but that way I know when I'm cutting, I know that what's left is 14 3/4. I like to be able to drop down an inch and then drop that extra notch, that 1/16 for the blade, for the nerve, and be able to get that perfect 1-inch board. Like I said, I'm a perfectionist, so, and I just love the way that I can handle this mill. It's very simple. So just a little bit on what I did tonight. So on each of these rollers here, there's adjustments on the back. You are able to loosen this, tighten this down, and be able to move it wherever you need to go. I didn't have any issues with the way this is tilted, or this one over here. This one, these are both really good. What I had an issue with was this guide arm was becoming loose, and because of use, it slides on here. My warning to anybody that has one of these, if this slides really easily, beware, because if it slides too easily, it's definitely out of square. I could just definitely tell it when I was using it. I noticed the other day when I was milling, if you have any vibration, it's definitely was this vibrating over here. I was able to walk to the other side and I could actually move that rod back and forth, and it wasn't a little bit. In that amount of travel, I got about 1/16 of an inch of play. That's all, and you could literally see it moving. There's a bushing inside of there. I'm pretty sure it's a brass bushing, but it was definitely loose. So at the back of the mill here, this is your blade engagement. Now this is an all manual mill. So up here, your throttle, okay? You have to have the throttle fully all the way up to be able to engage it, because if not, it's really gonna dog it out. Here's your choke and your fuel shut off. I have it on the off position, so nothing's sitting in there. Usually starts up right away. This is for your height adjustment. So on this mill, one full turn is only 1 inch. On the LT15, it is 2. So these notches here are only a 1/16 of an inch. And on the regular mill, the LT15, the standard is 2 inches. So each turn is still only a 1/16 of an inch, or each notch, I should say. But when I go, if I go the whole way around, I was at 14 3/4. I am now at 15 3/4. Okay. And then if you want that extra little bit for the blade, you just go one more notch, and that's how you get it. So, but it's crazy because if you look at this scale, it is literally it's a 1/16 of an inch higher. So I like this setup. I like this chain. Excuse my wheel cover. So really like this setup here. And so the other thing that I got to say about this log loading package and the trailering package is be careful when you're putting these on. One thing that I notice is if you have this in the lock position for traveling and this is in, okay, you can't put this on. It doesn't go on. You have to physically pick this up, move the mill head back to the back, put it on, and then slide it back into place. Now, not a big deal, but as you can see, whoops, but not a big deal. It's just a little bit of something that I did, my mistake. So, but other than that, everything else, it is a simple mill. I gotta say, I looked at a lot of different name brands of different mills. I looked at Norwood. I looked at Woodland Mills. I actually was really excited considering buying the LX55. But that wasn't going to do it for me. I wanted to have something with a little bit more of a sturdy bed. I figured maybe in a later date, if I do park this here at my house and I put it on, just say a frame somewhere, I wanted to have a decent deck. One of the things that I just did not like about the Woodland Mills or the Norwood was okay, but I just feel like I saw some people that it was a thin bed. From what I was looking at, I wasn't as thrilled, but I wanted something that I could actually physically take places. But I just really like this design. I just felt like when I got this and I brought it home and I was able to work on it, that putting it all together was exciting. I did it with my dad. He's a machinist, so if I ever need pieces or anything, or if I want to come up with something different, I have a great opportunity. If I need a part, I can have my dad make it, and obviously pay him for it. So that way, because eventually, some of this, this is kind of like a side thing for me. So, but one of the things was when I bought this mill, like I said, it was a starter package. So the LT15 start, it comes with 2 bed sections. So I ordered the third. I got the log deck package and I ordered the trailer package all separate. But I had them all delivered at one time. So I got everything at one time. So people that were waiting months upon months for an LT15, I wanted to get this all in right away as much as I could because we have a little bit of a homestead here that we've been doing. So I wanted to be able to build some things for my wife. So actually in my, there are 19 2x4x12 sitting there. They're just drying in here. Don't mind my mess. But I was able to cut them the other day, and they are nice 2x4x12s. And just so I can just verify and show you guys. So as you can see, I'm a little bit on the edge about this, but that's 4 inches for sure. And that's for sure 2 inches. So actual size lumber. There is some junk in there, but there's a little bit of weighing on some of these. Hi, Scout. Hi, buddy. You okay? So, but as I was saying, this mill does a good job for what I need it for. I'm really excited to continue doing this, and I'm excited to see where it takes me. I'm not going to go into like all the other little details and stuff of little things, but the water system is great. I listened to Marty from Wood-Mizer, PA, on how to mix for cutting pine. Actually, the funny thing is, I wasn't expecting to cut a lot of pine, and the first couple of logs I cut were pine. So it's been very exciting, very intriguing of how to get certain amounts out. Like I said, I'm particular, so getting what I could out of this log and figuring out what I need to do. If there's any particulars or anything that anybody wants to know about what I'm doing, I really enjoy just building things. So being able to cut trees down that were dead in my yard, to turning them into lumber, to making things for my wife in the basement. She's got a quail brooder that I built her. She needed something to pinch, so I just grabbed some fresh cut and put it together. Yeah, it's going to dry. Yes, it's going to shrink. But it meets our necessary needs for what we needed in the moment. But I will say 1,000 board foot off this mill already, and I am thoroughly impressed by how it works. Definitely a big thank you to Wood-Mizer. Guys, just always read your manual. Something as simple as changing how the blade guides are running, to just adjusting the tension on your blade, to getting your water system set up, to changing a blade. I mean, something as simple as changing a blade. I actually have seen some guys put them on backwards. I am a person that likes to rush, and I just take my time though when I do it. So it is something, I'm not in a hurry to do anything at the moment. I mean, if I get a bigger mill, maybe I will be, but this, it's definitely a little bit of a learning curve of how to use it, but it is really exciting and really fulfilling to know that you could build something and start something fresh and new. But yeah, we'll see if I post this video or not, but if you guys do see this video, I feel like this mill is getting me somewhere, and I'm really enjoying it. My wife has been a big support in all of this. My kids love it. They actually want to fight over who's going to run it first when they're old enough. So, but the whole experience, actually, I will say this, because this is a budget mill, I'm working with Wood-Mizer on the payment plan, and what an awesome amount of people over there, from the people in sales to the people in finance to the guy at Wood-Mizer, PA, Marty and his son Nick. Kudos to them. They are a customer service driven company, and I appreciate them very much for that. So stay tuned for more. If anybody wants to know more, I will gladly make a video on that. I know there's not very many videos on the LT15 start. This mill is, I mean, it's literally the LT15, but it's the start model. So there's nothing that is really any different. There's a few differences, but nothing that's like stands out and is like, that's why it's that much different. Blade sizes are the same. Log deck is the same. The log supports are all the same. The only difference is it doesn't come with the rollers. The deck does not come with the rollers, except for, I got lucky, I got one. It came with the extra log deck that I got, the extra bed section. So it's kind of funny. And one other thing, when I put this together, there was a couple things I did a little differently. I actually have the log dogs a little bit closer together than normal. I probably will get a third one down here because I cut more stuff to the back of the mill over the tires. But up there, one thing I will say is it's nice if you're cutting a 6-foot log or something like that, something small, you can actually clamp it between the two. So that actually helps out a lot. But I mean, from the back, it's a nice mill. It's very easy to adjust. If I do have anything that I can't fix, I'm just going to take it to Marty at Wood-Mizer, PA. So, but yeah, quality of a machine for sure. So, but yeah, thank you guys for watching.